And we're happy to welcome Kathy Lueders, our Associate Administrator for Human Exploration and Operations Mission Directorate. And so thank you for joining us today, Kathy, and off to you.
Okay, so let me do a quick sound check. Jake, can you hear me?
I can, Kathy, loud and clear.
Okay, wonderful. And thanks for having us. As Steve and Sandra have already talked about, it's a very, very exciting time for us in NASA and a lot of exciting things ahead. So next slide. So just like Sandra kind of laid out SMD's vision for exploration, here's HEO's vision for exploration. And really it's to continue to provide the key platforms and capabilities to be able to advance the nation's goals and obviously the agency's goals that are aligned to it, right? So, we're already working today on continuing to evolve the ISS and kind of our last frontier is to continue to look at making a commercial human spaceflight to low Earth orbit a robust and sustainable enterprise with many providers and a wide range of private and public users. We really want to kind of maximize, and we're using station as kind of our platform, our initial platform to really be able to prove out a lot of the relationship development and execution methods to be able to do that, because all this learning that we're going to get from this and is really what's enabling us then to be able to expand our other platforms that Steve had already mentioned that we're working on. We right now, and he listed Gateway, he listed all the international partnerships and the key aspects of Gateway that are really helping us to build our lunar orbiting platform with key aspects of our international partners providing pieces, along with industry partners providing key capabilities that will help that orbiting platform be developed and integrated and then there and available for as many users, hopefully, to use it. Our goal is to figure out how to deliver more missions, more science, more technology, and more innovation with a better value to the American taxpayer. Sandra talked about trying to find ways to have synergy and not overlap in what we're doing. And because what that allows us to do is kind of stretch what we can do with the dollars we have. And that's also a key aspect of us with our other mission directors. We're leveraging every dollar that science mission directors having to advance their missions and STMD is using to advance their missions. And we also want our platforms to be able to advance their missions. Steve mentioned us beginning to evolve and going back to the surface of the moon in a sustainable way. And it's going to take all of us. We're going to have to learn from the knowledge that SMD is gaining for us and the knowledge that STMD is gaining for us to be able to do that. But most important, we're doing this for you, right? We're doing this for our nation. We're doing this for the world because we firmly believe that as we're solving these big problems of how to maintain and develop and run these platforms, we're also making new discoveries and expanding human knowledge and with our goal of pushing our human presence, that creates another cycle of expanding, making new discoveries, expanding human knowledge. And so these continual cycles are key for us to continue to kind of push and then find benefit here to us here on Earth. Next slide. So Steve did a great job of kind of laying out the key platforms that we already have in play. Obviously, International Space Station up and running. We are learning things on the International Space Station today that help us get ready for Gateway and also our lunar surface activities. And the Gateway and the lunar surface activities are going to be teaching us critical things that we need to learn before we can even think about going and making that next step to go to Mars. And so, as you can see on this chart, there's all these things that we know we need to do to be able to go and conduct a deep space exploration mission, including understanding how to protect our crews, understanding what are the key aspects of capabilities and protections to be able to, how do you design systems to be able to do that hard job of being able to go on a multi-year mission to another planet and back. We also have to figure out, how do we really do comm? How do we do our missions? How do we operate our missions to be able to conduct them in a way? We're learning from the Science Mission Directorate now and from the STMD missions now to be able to help us be able to do that. Next slide. So, here's all the different, I have these different examples. I hope each one of you, take looking at all the different platforms that we have out there, how it continues to show this collaboration with us as we're moving forward. I'll just kind of point out a few. Steve already talked about Perseverance. Look, we took this what is really a SMD and STMD payload, but has huge implications from a HEO perspective. For us really to one of the key things we've got to figure out how to do before we're going to go to Mars and be able to put boots on Mars, not just on the moon, is for us to really figure out how we can do ISRU, how we can be able to use the resources so that it reduces the logistics challenge that we're going to have on that mission. So it's like a perfect example of how we're able to use the other mission directorate's missions and be able to take that knowledge from that and then be able to apply it to solve a big problem in human exploration. Artemis 1, yes, it's our shakedown cruise for it's our uncrewed shakedown cruise for our crew transportation system, but we pushed to also have science payloads on there because we realize that this will be the first time that we're going to be doing a flyby of the moon in a really long time. And International Space Station, every day we learn on how to kind of squeeze every ounce of value out of a laboratory and find new ways and honestly create the discussion with new entrants on how to continue to use our existing platforms. Next slide. So, HEO's got to figure out, how do we need to be able to safely protect humans on the lunar surface and help them do the jobs that we're hoping you're going to give us to do. And like I've already talked about, that what the other mission directors are doing are sending us and helping us to be able to give us the data that we need. And we may have other gaps that we are filling in ourselves for our specific mission goals that we'll be doing. But it's this collaboration. It's just making sure that we're not overlapping, but that HEO's then able to fill in the gaps for us to then be able to get to the final execution of the human aspect of the missions. But very important that we have these other mission directors that are out there. I love Thomas says, bots first, boots next. And he and I, it's a way to really connect that he's out there collecting data. He's out there collecting data on human physiology, on the environments that we'll be flying to. And that key data is very important for us then to be able to understand, what does that then mean for our technologies, for how we need to do the missions, how it can maybe make our missions more efficient. And then there's a synergistic phase where then we go, hey, how can we make our platforms more accessible for you, for what you need to be doing from a science mission perspective? What does STMD need to be doing? And we also want to hear from academia, from industry on how we can make the platforms and the missions that we're doing be more helpful for what they would also like and what they would like to learn out of what we need. And obviously we continue to try to do this in a way, we try to involve every single person. I wish I could figure out how to get 330 million people in this nation to be part of and engage and plug into what we're doing every day. Because I firmly believe that if they were part of it, then then it's another way for them to gain knowledge and for us as a nation to continue to advance. Next slide. So we've got a lot of things that we need to go figure out to make Artemis work. You know, we are continuing to use space station. It's really our platform for long duration study, and for both people and for technologies that we have right now. And that long duration study is very, very important because we know we've got to get to a factor of reliability higher for our systems, but we also need to understand the challenges that we have from a human physiology and psychology perspective, and really understand that before we go and are in a sustainable fashion on the moon, or even begin to think about going to a different planet. We need to bring even new systems online. We have new technologies that are in the pipeline that we've got to continue to bring online and be able to test so that we can gain that reliability that we need to have for our. We're also trying to figure out what is the best way, how to have our systems both on the space station, but also on commercial LEO destinations that will be able to continue our ability to be able to do this as we're over the next 10, 20, 30 years getting ready for a deeper space exploration, how we continue to have this long duration capability, and which is very, very critical for us to continue to advance our systems to be able to do the next thing. We're continuing to look at how can we work through and establish our deep space logistics supply chains. Logistics is a big issue. How do you get things to a place? Fortunately, on the moon and Mars, I don't have, you know, a grocery store. I don't have, you know, some of the key things I don't have a mine right now. I don't have a lot of things. So we got to really solve this logistics challenge, which is why that MOXIE was so important to us. All of this needs to be done in a pretty constrained budget, right? So it's why we can't afford to overlap our work, you know. We need also to hear what you all are doing, because we don't want to be doing something that's duplicative of what you're doing, right? And so this continued partnership with academia and our commercial providers to continue to kind of squeeze every ounce that we can out of each of our investments is very, very important. And then obviously, not only have this be a national event, but an international event is also a critical aspect of us to be able to get this done. Leveraging all of our capabilities to be able to do what I view is a real international endeavor. Next slide. So I say this all the time. I think exploration is a team sport. And some people out there may not recognize they're on the team yet, but we need to co-opt them. We need to get them off the bench. And so we would really, really, really like to hear you. We want to put them in the game. We want to put you in the game. We need to hear from you. In some cases, we know that we have some barriers. Maybe our bench is too far from the playing field. And so we need to hear how we can get more and more folks in the game, how we can fully leverage our platforms, what we can, HEO can be doing to figure out how to continue to gain from the knowledge that's out there, not only in the multiple mission directorates within NASA, but what's out there in academia, what's out there within our industry, what's out there within our international partners, so that we can all do this in the most cost-efficient, effective method possible while continue to move the ball down the field. So I really, really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today, and continue to, looking forward to the questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kathy. That was great to see all that material there and see where we're heading on the human exploration side.